camera pushes through clouds at 24,000 feet, blue Pacific sky, then metal screaming, a deafening roar, wind howling at 300 knots. Suddenly, through the chaos, an impossible sight, a commercial airliner flying with no roof, passengers visible from above, seats exposed to open sky, hair whipping in hurricane-force wind. Yet the plane still flies, still controlled, still heading home. How does an aircraft survive when its fuselage tears open like a tin can? How does a pilot land when the cockpit is screaming wind and the controls are barely responding? In the next 30 minutes, witness the 18 minutes that defied every law of aviation, the impossible flight, the impossible landing, the impossible survival, when an aircraft broke apart at altitude and still brought everyone home. The story begins now. Hawaiian Islands, April 1988. Paradise above the Pacific. Crystal waters, volcanic peaks. Trade winds carrying the scent of plumeria and salt. For islanders, air travel is not luxury, but lifeline. Islands separated by ocean require aircraft to bridge the gaps, connect communities, move people between work and family. Aloha Airlines serves this need for decades, operating short-hop flights between islands, reliable as sunrise, familiar as home. Their fleet consists of Boeing 737s, workhorses of the sky, flying multiple routes daily, accumulating cycles faster than mainland carriers. Takeoff, climb, cruise, descend, land. Repeat, 10 times per day. Every day, year after year. The aircraft age not in years but in cycles. Pressurization and depressurization. Expansion and contraction. Metal fatigue accumulating invisibly, microscopically, fatally. By 1988, some Aloha 737s have flown over 89,000 cycles, more than any 737 in history. The metal is tired, the structure is compromised, and no one fully understands how close to catastrophe they fly. Every single day, the culture is casual, island time, Aloha spirit. Passengers board in flip-flops and Hawaiian shirts, carrying surfboards and ukuleles, greeting flight attendants by first name. The flights are short, 25 minutes Hilo to Honolulu. Barely time to reach altitude before descending. Routine. Safe. Comfortable. The aircraft, registered November 7, 3711, is a Boeing 737-200, delivered to Aloha Airlines in 1969. 19 years old. 89,681 cycles. Ancient by aircraft standards. The fuselage shows its age. Paint faded. Panels replaced. Corrosion treated. But inspections pass. Maintenance continues. The aircraft flies. No one sees the invisible enemy. Metal fatigue. Microscopic cracks spreading through aluminum skin. Rivets loosening. Bonding agent deteriorating. The fuselage held together by prayers and procedure. One more flight. Always one more flight. Until the metal says no more. Captain Robert Skornsteimer commands Flight 243. 51 years old, Hawaii native, 25 years flying for Aloha, 10,000 hours in 737s. Experienced, steady, respected. He knows these aircraft intimately, knows every sound, every vibration, every idiosyncrasy. Beside him, First Officer Madeline Tompkins, 36 years old, 10 years with Aloha, sharp pilot, quick thinker. Together they form professional crew, comfortable partnership built on mutual respect, and countless flights together. In the cabin, Chief Flight Attendant Clarabelle Lansing supervises. 57 years old, 37 years with Aloha, veteran, beloved, mother figure to younger crew. With her, Flight Attendant Michelle Honda. Decades of experience. Professional, capable, unflappable. And Flight Attendant Jane Sato Tomita. Newer but competent. Together, they prepare cabin for standard inter-island hop. 89 passengers boarding. Tourists, locals, business travelers, families. Normal Thursday afternoon. Normal flight. Normal everything. Until it is not. The flight departs Hilo at 13:25 local time. Smooth takeoff. Standard climb. Captain Skornsteimer flies. Tompkins monitors. The aircraft climbs through trade wind clouds, breaking into clear sky at 22,000 feet. They level at flight level 240, 24,000 feet. Cruise altitude for the short hop. The weather is perfect. Visibility unlimited. Pacific spreading below like blue mirror. Passengers relax. Some sleep. Some read. Some gaze out windows at ocean and clouds. Flight attendants begin beverage service. Rolling carts down narrow aisle. Coffee, juice, soft drinks. Routine, comfortable, peaceful. In the cockpit, Skornsteimer and Tompkins chat casually, monitoring instruments, managing radios. 13 minutes into flight. Everything normal. Everything perfect. Everything about to end. At 13:48, 18 minutes after takeoff, approximately 23 miles south-southeast of Kauai, Maui, at 24,000 feet, the aircraft explodes. Not bomb, not fire, not engine. Structure. The fuselage roof tears open. Suddenly, violently, catastrophically. Section from just aft of cockpit to just forward wing, 18 feet long, 8 feet wide, simply rips away. Explosive decompression. Instant pressure drop. Air rushes out at hundreds of miles per hour. Temperature drops 40 degrees in seconds. Noise beyond description. Wind screaming at 300 knots. Metal tearing. Passengers screaming. Everything not secured becomes projectile. Debris, papers, luggage, insulation, all sucked into stratosphere. The force is unimaginable. The terror is absolute. First Officer Tompkins turns to Skornsteimer. Where moments ago was enclosed cockpit, now open sky. Wind roaring. Looking back, she sees cabin exposed. Seats visible from above. Passengers clinging desperately. No roof. Just sky. Just horror. Just impossible. She thinks, we are dead. We are all dead. Captain Skornsteimer fights controls. The aircraft porpoising, pitching up and down violently. The missing roof section fundamentally alters aerodynamics. Center of pressure shifted. Stability compromised. The 737, not designed to fly open. Not designed to survive. Not designed for this. But Skornsteimer is not thinking design. He is thinking control. Thinking survive. Thinking land. He reduces power immediately. Full throttle would tear aircraft apart. He begins descent. Must get to lower altitude. Thicker air. Less stress. Less wind. Less killing. The aircraft responds. Barely. Sluggishly. But responds. He thinks. This is flyable. Barely. But flyable. Must fly. Must land. Must save them. Tompkins declares emergency. Voice remarkably calm, considering nightmare around her. Mayday. Mayday. Aloha to 43. Explosive decompression. Structural failure. Emergency descent. Request immediate clearance, Kaului. Tower responds instantly. Roger, Aloha to 43. Cleared immediate approach runway 2. Emergency equipment rolling. Ambulances staging. Hospital alerted. Come home. Just come home. In the cabin, hell. The decompression sucked chief flight attendant lancing through the opening. One moment standing in aisle. Next moment gone. Vanished into sky. Never found. The only fatality. But 65 passengers and remaining crew injured. Some seriously. Flying debris caused cuts, bruises, broken bones. Wind tore clothing. Cold froze exposed skin. Terror paralyzed minds. But Michelle Honda acts. Despite injuries. Despite terror. Despite impossibility. She moves through cabin. Calming passengers. Checking injuries. Preparing for landing. Emergency landing. Crash landing. Whatever comes. She embodies professionalism. Courage. Humanity. Jane Sato-Tomita assists. Both flight attendants refusing to succumb to panic, to fear, to rational understanding that they should be dead. They work. They comfort. They prepare. They survive. And help others survive. Skornsteimer descends. Fighting controls every second. The aircraft wants a pitch. Wants a roll. Wants to die. He will not let it. Years of experience. Thousands of hours, muscle memory, instinct, determination, all combine. He flies. Not instruments. Not procedures. Just raw flying. Feeling aircraft through stick, through throttles, through seat. The 737 shudders. Groans. Metal stress beyond limits. But holds. Somehow holds. They pass through 10,000 feet. Air thicker. Breathing easier. But danger greater. Lower altitude means more stress on damaged structure. More aerodynamic forces. More risk of complete breakup. Skornsteimer knows. Accepts. Continues. Must land. Soon. Before luck ends. Before metal fails. Before everyone dies. He calls for landing checklist. Tompkins responds. Gear down. Flaps. Approach speed. Everything by book. Despite nothing being normal. Despite roof missing. Despite flying nightmare. They follow procedures. Procedures save lives. Procedures work. Always work. Must work. Kaului Airport visible ahead. Runway 2 aligned. Emergency vehicles lining taxiways. Foam trucks ready. Ambulances waiting. Fire crews suited. Everyone watching. Waiting. Praying. The 737 approaches. Slow. Careful. Barely controlled. Skornsteimer lines up. Perfectly. Despite everything. Despite impossible. He flies perfect approach. Glide slope. Centerline. Speed. Everything textbook. Everything professional. Everything heroic. The aircraft crosses threshold. Flares. Main gear touches. Smooth. Soft. Perfect. Nose gear follows. Aircraft rolls. Slows. Stops. Middle of runway. Engines shut down. Silence. After 18 minutes of screaming wind and roaring terror. Silence. Sweet. Impossible. Miraculous silence. Emergency slides deploy. Passengers evacuate. 65 injured. 8 seriously. 94 survive. 1 lost. Clarabelle Lansing. Gone. But 94 saved. 94 alive because aircraft held together. Because pilots flew impossibly. Because flight attendants acted heroically. Because metal and humans together refused to accept death. Skornsteimer and Tompkins remain in cockpit, hands shaking, breathing heavy, alive. They look at each other. No words necessary. They know. They survived impossible. They flew home. They did their job. They saved lives. That is enough. That is everything. That is immortality. Investigation begins immediately. National Transportation Safety Board mobilizes. Experts examine wreckage. Photographs. Measurements. Analysis. The findings are damning. Metal fatigue. Multiple cracks. Failed bonding. Inadequate inspection. The fuselage was time bomb. 89,000 cycles. 19 years. Constant pressurization. Salt air corrosion. Everything contributing. Everything culminating. Everything waiting for moment to fail. And it did. At 24,000 feet. At 300 knots. With 95 people aboard. But unlike every prediction, every calculation, every expectation, the aircraft did not completely disintegrate. The structure held. Wings attached. Tail attached. Cockpit intact. Engines running. Controls responding. Barely. But enough. Enough to fly. Enough to descend. Enough to land. Enough to save 94 lives. The recommendations are sweeping. Inspection procedures revolutionized. Aging aircraft programs implemented. Cycle limits established. Structural integrity monitoring enhanced. The industry learns, changes, improves because of Aloha 243, because of one flight, one failure, one impossible survival. Aviation becomes safer. Passengers become safer. The sacrifice of Clarabelle Lansing, the heroism of crew, the miracle of metal holding, all combining to save future lives. Countless future lives. That is legacy. That is meaning. That is purpose from tragedy. Captain Skornsheimer and First Officer Tompkins receive recognition, awards, commendations, accolades. They deflected praise, said they did their job, said training worked, said aircraft held, humble, professional, heroes refusing hero title. Skornsheimer retired soon after, could not fly same, haunted by wind sound, by missing roof, by what could have been. Tompkins continued flying, became captain, inspired generations of pilots, especially women, showing competence under pressure, professionalism under terror, humanity under impossible. Michelle Honda and Jane Satotomita also recognized, continued careers, continued serving, continued living, but changed, forever changed. How could they not be? How could anyone survive that and remain unchanged? They carry memory of wind, of terror, of friend lost, of passengers saved. Forever. The aircraft, November 73711, never flew again. Too damaged, too compromised, but fuselage section preserved. Museum piece. Teaching tool. National Air and Space Museum. Visitors see, touch, wonder. How did this fly? How did this land? How did anyone survive? The answer is complex. Luck, design, skill, courage, determination, all combining, all necessary. Remove one element and everyone dies, but all elements present, all aligned, all working. So 94 lived, against probability, against physics, against death. They lived. Today, commercial aviation is safest transportation mode, safer than cars, safer than trains, safer than walking, because of lessons learned, because of accidents investigated, because of changes implemented. Aloha 243 contributed. Significantly, metal fatigue understood better. Aging aircraft monitored closer. Inspection procedures improved. Passenger survival rates increased. All because one 737 tore open at 24,000 feet and still flew home. All because two pilots refused to accept death. All because two flight attendants refused to panic. All because 94 passengers held on, literally, figuratively, spiritually, held on and survived the impossible, the unsurvivable, the unforgettable. Aloha 243, the plane that survived mid-air breakup and still flew home, forever proving that impossible is just word, not limit, not ending, not final, just challenge, just test, just invitation to refuse quit, to fight harder, to fly impossibly, to survive unimaginably, to come home, against everything, against odds, against death itself. Home, always home, forever.